Before we begin, quick disclaimer. Nothing in this episode should be considered investment advice. Results discussed have not been independently vetted. Any claims made by the guests have not been verified. The content is for educational purposes only. Views expressed by the guests do not reflect those of the host or this show. Imagine this for a second. You did everything right your entire life. You worked hard, climbed the ladder, earned six figures. You told yourself, I'm doing well, I'm on track. And then one day, at 63 years old, you get fired. No warning, no backup plan. And when you sit down and run the numbers, you realize something terrifying. You're only a couple years away from being broke. That's the moment today's guest, David Nassief, found himself in. And here's the part that should make all of us pause. David wasn't irresponsible, he wasn't reckless, he did what most high earners do. He made good money, but he didn't realize, and what most people don't realize until it's too late, is that making money and building wealth are two completely different skills. In fact, most people, especially high-income professionals, are unknowingly walking in financial circles, thinking they're moving forward when they're actually ending up right where they started. But David made a decision in that moment. No backup plan, no safety net, and over the next 6 years, he went from nearly broke to building a seven-figure portfolio and true financial freedom. Not by chasing trends, not by taking massive risks, but by following a simple, repeatable system that almost nobody talks about. So if you've ever wondered, am I actually on track or am I just getting by? What would happen if my income disappeared tomorrow? Or is it already too late for me to fix this? This episode might completely change the way you think about money. So let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to an episode of the Financial Freedom Podcast. Today's guest is David Nassief from Arizona. He was fired at 63, nearly broke, and he became a millionaire by 69 safely. We're going to hear his story turn around. I'm really happy to have him on. David, welcome.
Thanks, Chris. Excited to be here with you and your audience.
Share your story. We'll dive into the questions.
Well, that happened when I was 63. I got fired after 18 years with the same company. I would not wish that day on anyone. When I did the math, it was brutal. If we drained all of our savings, all of our retirement, we would be broke by 65. I'm thinking, who's going to hire me at my age? The hardest part was driving home, thinking, how am I going to tell my wife, Mary? We've been married for 30 years. She did not deserve the mess I just threw our family into. After 2 months of dead-end job searching, I did not want to go back to the corporate world. They didn't want me back. My interviews, none of them actually worked out. I decided I'd take a huge risk. I went to work as an independent sales agent on straight commission. No salary, no safety net, no benefits. The first months were brutal, cold calls, rookie mistakes. I heard more no's than I'd ever heard in my life in that 2-month period. Looking back, all that rejection, all that resistance I was getting, I believe it was giving me the mental muscles I needed to bust through that dark period of my life. Because after 10 months of grinding, I hit an incredible milestone. I was suddenly making more money than my good paying corporate six-figure salary. For a moment, I thought, we made it. But then I realized, wait, we haven't made anything. I've been making decent money most of the 40 years previous. Look where it got me. I was on the edge of a financial cliff. And I said, I need to learn better how to invest. I need to better how to build wealth. I couldn't waste time with a bunch of investment theories. I dug down myself, read 21 books, listened to 13 podcasts consistently on financial planning, blogs, newsletters. Every time I got a good idea, I'd put it on a piece of paper, kept filling up that paper. When it was overflowing, I took out the least effective and kept the good ones. It kept getting more refined. It was a set it and forget it approach. I did not have time. I had to run my company. 6 years later, I did what I thought was impossible. From terrified of being broke to a seven-figure portfolio and real financial freedom. I now know it is never too late to rewrite your story. If I can pull it off starting as late as 63, anybody can with the right direction. I truly believe that.
Your story reminded me a lot of doctors approaching this cliff. They know that healthcare is broken. They can get laid off at any point. What were some of the things you did that accelerated? You became a millionaire over a 6-year period. What were the things that gave you an edge or leverage?
Let me just tell you the story about what inspired the whole thing, then I'll tell you how it works. Scientists at the Max Planck Institute did an experiment. They put people in the center of a dense German forest. They told them, walk in a straight line to the edge. These were confident, capable people, but when the clouds covered the sun and they lost their point of reference, the GPS tracking showed they were gradually starting to walk in circular motion. Some of them were ending up right back where they began. Yet every one of them was absolutely convinced they were walking in a perfectly straight line. That was me for 40 years, working hard, thought I was doing the right thing, ultimately ending up right where I started. I said to myself, I need a simple one-page compass to keep me straight, because shiny object or a hot tip, and I was off to the races in another direction. I was going in circles. I didn't realize what I was doing. It made all the difference. I doubled my portfolio 3 times in a 6-year period. Most financial experts would say, David, that's impossible. You can't do that. Let me explain. I wasn't day trading. I wasn't chasing crypto. I was doing something so boring. My approach was simple. The crazy part of it was when the market was down, I was thrilled. When other people were panicking and selling, I was buying more shares at discount prices. My only regret was the market wasn't down more during that 6-year period. I'd done even better. But here's what surprised me was the math. There's a thing called the rule of 72. And it says that if you are getting a 10% return, your money will double every 7.2 years or roughly every 86 months. Once I developed my compass, my first double occurred in 30 months. The second one, 13 months. The third, 29 months, for an average of 24 months, way less than half the expected 86-month time period. But the secret wasn't the returns. I was doing 3 simple things that I hadn't figured out 40 years previously. I got serious. I was saving a good percent of my income. I knew my time was short. Secondly, I was getting in the right investments. For me, low-cost index funds, super cheap. And I only own 2. One of them is every stock in the United States publicly traded. And the other fund is every stock outside the United States. So for me to go broke, to go to zero, the entire economic world system would have to collapse to zero. I feel pretty good. I can sleep at night. It's not a high risk approach. I use market volatility to work for me instead of against me. I was caught in this trap of buy high and sell low, because that's just the psychology of how the weird we people think. It's funny. If you were to go to the department store and they had a sale, 50% off, you wouldn't say, hey, no, I'm not paying no 50%. I want a full retail. No one does that. But yet on the stock market, we all panic, 50% off. We don't want to buy it. Then we want to get. So I got my mind in the right thinking. I was able to build my wealth twice as fast with half the risk compared to how I'd been doing it 40 years.
Quick pause here. If this episode is making you rethink how your income is structured, that's intentional. Information doesn't create freedom. Structure does. At the end of this episode, I'm going to show you how to diagnose whether you're building leverage or just scaling complexity. Let's get back into it. During times, April of last year, even this year, market been, quite frankly, poor performance. What do you do when you were in this situation, you bought and your portfolio is down? How did you handle that?
It's weird, but because of the education, Benjamin Franklin said, education and knowledge is the best investment. It was that way with me. Once I understood the market, once I understood buying low instead of buying high, I actually was thrilled. Every morning, I don't listen to the news, the cable news, financial stuff. I would never take advice. They're crazy. They don't know what they're talking. Half the time they're wrong. Half the time they're wrong. But I love to just watch it. I like to see what the market's doing. I love their stories about the different companies. Once I understood it, when the market was down, I had the best breakfast that morning because I was so thrilled. When I buy this month, I only bought once or twice a month because I didn't market time at all. I tried that and it was a nightmare. I stopped market timing. I look at it as sale prices. I'm happy right now. A lot of people are down about the market. I am so happy. I just hope it stays down. As long as I'm in a buying mode. Now, I'm assuming once I retire, maybe my thinking will be a little bit different. It's like I'm buying and I'm happy. I want it to stay down.
How do you handle this fact that you were 63, fired, no income, no prospects, and you have to make it up? How did you handle that? A lot of people, they see themselves, they're like, it's hopeless. How did you view that situation?
I'll be honest with you. My first 2 months, I was those people who said it's hopeless. How am I going to recover? I'm 63. They fired me. It was like, you are no value to us anymore. Companies I was interviewing with were saying the same thing. For 2 months, I was like, wow, this is not working. I could be another statistic. Then I got mad. My family, my wife doesn't deserve this. I'm going to make this work somehow. When I did this, started my own company, it was miserable those first few months, but I just says, there's no plan B. I didn't have a backup plan. I'm glad I didn't. I didn't have the option. I had to make this work. I look back on it now, and I am so grateful I got fired. My life is so much better financially. I should send a fruit basket and a thank you letter to those people that fired me because I didn't have the guts to quit. I should have quit 8 years before. I was with the company 18 years. Who in their late 50s making six figures just quit? So you don't do that. You're a nutcase. So I couldn't do it. They gave me the push I needed out of the corporate mess. I can feel sorry for myself. I can play the victim role, or I can fight. I'm going to fight. My wife is worth it. I'm not going to let this happen to us.
Looking back, what are some of the things you wish you had done while in your corporate job to soften this landing of getting fired at 63?
Let me say, I'm grateful it happened that way. If I wasn't desperate, I wouldn't be where I am today. I needed that desperation. Looking back, if I was a normal person, I would have done my wealth compass. It's 9 trail markers. I would have just got on that thing and stayed on it. If I'd have done that in my 50s, forget the 20s and 30s, I would have been just fine. What I did in 6 years with my compass is more than I did 40 years before that. That's what I wish I did. I wish somebody else had thought of the compass, got a hold of it, and I'd have just followed it. It's a step-by-step process. I made it for the non-financial person to be able to use it.
People in 2 mental states, you are where you are today. You implemented over 6 years. You were able to pull yourself out. A lot of people get bitter, angry at the past. If I had done this, if I had started in my 30s or 20s, how do you handle that?
With gratitude, I am just so grateful where I'm at. My first 3 doubles. My last double was a 7-figure double. It happened in 28 months. I'm on my 5th double. It's going to put me numbers that I've never seen before. The growth is exponential. Once you get the market kicking, in the beginning, my contributions were being the big part. Now the market has taken over and it's really grown for me. A lot of people have this misunderstanding about high income people. You have a lot of listeners who are high income. I was high income most of my 40 years. You never know it at 63. Let me share with you some interesting stats that will help people understand this. The NBA, the average player makes over $10 million a year. Yet 5 years after retirement, 60% of them are broke, according to the Netflix documentary Broke. The NFL is even worse. After 2 years of retirement, 78% of them are either bankrupt or in serious financial stress, according to Sports Illustrated. 25% of medical doctors in their 60s have not gotten beyond a 6-figure net worth. They've made a third of $1,000,000 most of their life. Here they are in their 60s and don't even have a 7-figure situation. Compare that to Dale Schroeder, a basketball-loving carpenter who made modest to below average income his entire life. He chose to live on less than he earned and invest the difference wisely. He ended up with a $3 million portfolio. That's more than the most NBA and NFL players making their $10 million. Here's what I found out after I did my compass and woke up after 40 years of being asleep. Making money is different than building wealth. I thought because I was a 6-figure earner a good portion of my life, I knew all about money. I knew how to make money, but I didn't know how to build wealth. Basketball players and footballers, I knew how to make money. Most of them were terrible at building wealth. Dale Schroeder, lousy at making money, but he was a master at building wealth. 2 separate skill sets. One does not mean at all you have the other one. They're completely different, I discovered the hard way.
I love how you distinguish between rich and wealth. We call them Henrys. They basically spend all their money, don't save or invest. Henry's high income, not yet rich. One of my clients the other day, he was talking about how the market's down, economy's bad, oil prices. Then he's looking at Elon Musk going to take a SpaceX public, looking at the billionaires, watching the politicians make money. How do you handle comparison trap?
I truly believe this. Comparison is the thief of joy. I decided I'm only going to compare myself to me. I could look and say, man, if I had this system when I was in my 20s, I'd probably have $100 million at this point. I don't think that way. I am so grateful for what I got. I'm sure there are people doing much better than me, people doing worse than me. I don't care. I don't get involved. I don't want that to drain my brain. That's why I like my investment approach of set it and forget it deal. I don't have to worry. If he starts another company, I'll own a piece of it. It's part of my portfolio. I'll own a piece of everything. I don't have to use energy to do that. I use my energy to generating the income I need to pour even more money into the market in a super safe way. That's where I like to focus my energy. I cannot control the market. I can't control any of that stuff. I can control my ability to have a shovel to keep putting it into the market in a super safe way. That has proven so much more successful for me than worried about everyone else's situation. I cannot control it.
Wrapping up, a lot of people are having trouble finding jobs, getting laid off. What's wrong with conventional thinking these days?
Let me show you quickly. I'm going to give this to all your listeners for free. I have a one-page wealth compass. It has 9 trail markers. If everybody would Say, where am I at on these 9 trail markers? Maybe I have a career problem where income is an issue right now. Maybe I'm a doctor, my income is great, but I have a debt issue with credit cards. Or maybe I have a wealth building issue. Pick up where you're at on this list and go forward. This will get you the most direct path to financial freedom. The other side is the 5 North Star principles. Have you ever had a situation where you were doing something right, and then you got distracted by the shiny object or the hot tip? This pulls you back so you don't do that. Say you're on this step, wealth accumulation. You go, well, I want more details. Go to chapter 6. This is the ground game. Go to chapter 6 in the book. It will give you the details. Turn right here, turn left here, take it right at the light. This is the 30,000 foot view. This is the ground game right here. You bring those two together, it gets rid of so much noise. You have a clear path. It gives you peace. My mind isn't full of, oh, this is going on. I got direction and peace.
It's all about peace of mind. How can people connect with you, get that one sheet, check out your book, and connect with you?
Go to my website. The first thing you're going to see is download your free one-page wealth compass. It's one piece of paper. It's not complicated. Look at it. If you like it, you can get a link to the Amazon book on my site. It's very inexpensive. They go hand in hand. I got a free blog, free stuff. My company had a record year last year. I'm not doing this for money. I was in a dark storm, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I was handed a lifeline by inspiration through this compass. I feel like the ultimate selfishness is not to share it. That's all I'm here for, to share the compass. Hopefully, other people won't be 63 and waking up. It'd be much better if you're 53, 43, or even 33 waking up.
Thank you so much for sharing your inspirational story and message.
Thank you, Chris. It's been a pleasure being on here with you today.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel, maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
Let's zoom out. If you're a physician, founder, or high-income professional, and you feel like you're working harder every year, but not structurally freer, you're not alone. The mistake isn't effort, it's architecture. This show exists to help you convert expertise into scalable leverage, faster and with fewer expensive missteps. Here's the diagnostic I mentioned before. If your income requires your constant presence, if your capital isn't compounding outside your profession, if your highest value talent is doing low value tasks, you don't have a growth problem, you have a leverage design problem. And if you want to fix it with clarity instead of guesswork, I offer a limited number of one-on-one leverage strategy sessions each month. We audit your income model, capital deployment, authority positioning, and structural bottlenecks, and design your highest return move. If you're serious about compressing years into months, the link to apply is below.
How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Tap the banner or visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.